I have some serious Japan updates you need to know about if you plan on coming here in the near future. Deadly cases of bacterial infections are soaring in Japan, a tourist ban on the geisha district in Kyoto is being put into effect, and potential store closures are just a few of the vital Japan updates I need to share with you before it's too late. So without further delay, let's get right into these updates as we have a lot to cover in this video. If you are overwhelmed with planning the endless things to do for your upcoming trip to Japan, well, I have just a solution for you. And that solution is my business, Hidden Japan Journeys. After years of living in Japan, I have gained a wealth of knowledge about how to easily get around and help plan your Japan trip as efficiently as possible. If you're interested, contact me in my business email, which is located right here, or check out my website, which is located in the description below. Since the beginning of 2024, serious cases of streptococcal infections, or strep group A, have been rapidly rising throughout Japan. For reference, there are a total of 941 serious cases of strep A infections reported in Japan last year. However, even though we are only a quarter of the way through 2024, Japan has already reported almost 400 cases this year, which is the equivalent to 40% of total cases from 2023. According to what the government has reported so far, this soaring case count has been attributed to a highly virulent and infectious variant of strep, which has been identified spreading throughout the country. Now, while this form of bacteria is becoming more prevalent, there are still many reassurances I can share with you to help ease your mind. First of all, many English speakers will already be familiar with this bacteria, as its common name is known as strep throat or group A strep. This type of sickness usually results in just a sore throat, fever, and other flu-like symptoms. Along those lines, while the bacteria can cause complications and lead to serious issues, most people can recover with the proper and effective treatment. However, I want to highlight the recent prevalence of this disease to help make all incoming tourists aware that there is a real concern of getting strep throat in Japan right now, especially if you're going to be visiting popular areas like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. So with all of that in mind, if you plan on visiting Japan in the near future, just be sure to practice good hygiene, have hand sanitizer ready to go, and be cautious to not touch your face needlessly. The other big piece of recent news is the tourist ban that has recently been implemented in Kyoto's popular geisha district. The geisha district has become a growing point of contention between locals and foreign tourists. With the steady increase of visitors coming to Kyoto, reports of geisha being harassed by tourists have also been on the rise. These reports have ranged from pulling a geisha's hair to tearing another geisha's kimono to even putting a cigarette butt in one of the geisha's collars. Because of all of these terribly disrespectful acts, it is no surprise that Kyoto has been forced to ban not just tourists, but pretty much anyone from entering the narrow alleys of Gion without having a specific reason to do so. And this is just another instance of how one or two bad tourists can spoil the fun for everyone else. As someone that lives here, it is very frustrating to see a consistent trend of how just a few disrespectful visitors can ruin it for everyone else that are just trying to appreciate Japan's culture and society. What's worse is this isn't even the first instance where Japan has had to implement anti-tourism measures because of a few disrespectful visitors. Mount Fuji is another perfect example where over-tourism led to excessive littering and destroyed public facilities in the area from overcapacity. This caused new anti-tourism measures to start for Fujisan next summer, implementing a tourist cap and an entry fee to help stem the flow of tourists from climbing to the top. And then you have the other aspect, which are the nuisance streamers, who have been coming to Japan thinking that the country is just one big content farm and been completely disrespecting the country and the people as a result. Now, before anyone that's watching this video right now thinks that I'm pointing a finger at them or every tourist as a whole, that is definitely not the case. I know the majority of people who visit Japan are very respectful of their surroundings and do not try and cause trouble. And I know that especially goes for all my viewers that are watching right now, like you. But it is always a few people's bad conduct that can paint a bad picture for everyone else that is visiting Japan. As for the measures that are being implemented in Kyoto specifically, we will have to see how this actually holds up. But as always, I'll be sure to keep you up to date as this continues to develop and let you know as soon as more updates become available. While the last two updates have certainly not been very pleasant, there is definitely some good news to report amongst all these drab updates. And that good news is Kyoto opening a new bus express route that is designed just for tourists. This new bus route implementation is good news for both tourists and locals alike, as I'm sure no one likes to be in a cramped bus to begin with. Just last year, we were hit with the bad news that Kyoto would would discontinue the one-day, all-you-can-ride bus pass that helped enable tourists to visit all of Kyoto's famous landmarks. However, this new solution appears to be an even better answer to the old one-day pass, as this new bus route will make stops at all the major tourist hotspots like Kiyomizu-dera, Gion, Gingakuji, and more. Some final notes about the bus route is it will only operate on weekends and holidays, and it will begin operation on June 1st. While that might seem a little bit far out and the bus route might not operate every day, I can't imagine that the regular buses will be that packed unless it's rush hour during the weekdays anyways, and we have to give Kyoto some time to make sure the bus routes can be implemented effectively. Either way, stay tuned to this channel as I will provide more updates to this situation as they become available. Switching gears back to more Tokyo-centric items, it unfortunately appears that the moving Gundam that is located in Yokohama will actually be closing for good this year. The moving Gundam, which opened in Yokohama on December 19th, 2020, was originally supposed to close in March of 2022. However, due to the pandemic closing Japan's borders and the moving Gundam's astounding success, the attraction was extended to operate an additional 2 years. But now that we are at the final month of the extension, it appears the massive robot will actually be put out of commission this time. While this is sad news, hopefully the majority of the world was able to see it either on YouTube or in person before its closure this month. However, there are some rumors flying around as to what will happen to the moving Gundam and the Gundam factory store next. Rumors are circulating that it won't be fully put out of commission and might be transported to another location to be put on display. As for the Yokohama store itself, we will just have to wait and see what happens after the closure date of March 31st passes. Of course, once I get more answers to all of these questions, I'll be sure to let you all know. And lastly, shifting over to some economic news that is definitely relevant to Japan tourism, Japan's long-stretching negative interest rates are finally coming to an end, which could also mark the end to a lot of businesses as well. And if you might be asking why that might be the case, I have 2 words that will answer your question. And those 2 words are zombie companies. A term that originated in Japan, zombie companies are businesses that, while still functional, are operating mostly at a break-even point or even a deficit. They are companies that, while unprofitable, are still being kept afloat by investors and low interest rate loans. But as I already mentioned, these low interest rate loans will most likely be coming to an end. That's because the Bank of Japan just decided it will raise its federal interest rates for loans, which will in turn force banks to sell their loans for a higher interest rate as well. This translation of higher interest rates from the banks to the businesses just might be the nudge zombie companies need to finally go under and file for bankruptcy. And you might be asking, well, what does this have to do with tourism? And the answer lies in the zombie company statistics, where the report states a lot of the zombie companies are retail stores. And to go off of that fact, a lot of these zombie retail stores are operated by 5 employees or less, meaning that these zombie stores are most likely local mom and pop shops. So with all of that in mind, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that some of the stores you've seen on social media might not be around for much longer. That also includes some of my videos, as there have already been a few store closures from other shops I have visited previously. I guess that means I need to make updated videos on places to visit, don't I? Well, either way, while the risk of your favorite shops closing is pretty low, there's still the chance and is important to keep in mind as you plan your trip to Japan, and also to be on the lookout for future update videos from me on places to visit in Tokyo. Email me to ask about my Japan planning services. Like this video if you found it useful. Subscribe for more content about Japan, and check out my affiliate links below before you plan your trip to Japan. Alright, that's gonna do it, and until next time, I'll see you then.